All right, so you wanted to really get into Post Malone's country thing. We're going to do a deep dive on that today. We're starting off with this People article about his most streamed artists of 2024. And let me tell you, the names at the top of the list are pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. George Strait and Zach Top. You wouldn't really expect that for Post Malone, would you?
Not really, no. So he just casually drops this during his set at the Wild Horses Festival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like as if it was nothing. Can you imagine being there?
Oh, man, I bet the crowd went nuts.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's more than just like a fun fact for fans, right? When he says that on stage, it's basically like he's endorsing these artists straight. I mean, he's already a legend. But for someone like Zach Top, who's still kind of up and coming, to get a shout out like that from Post Malone, that's huge.
Totally. And he doesn't stop there. He brings Zach Top out on stage with him, and they do a duet of Don't Let Our Love Start Slipping Away, which is that classic country love song by Vince Gill.
That's really interesting. It makes you think.
Yeah.
Like, why that song? I mean, it is a love song, so maybe Top's music is kind of similar to Malone's in a way. Like, maybe it's more about feelings, you know? Which would make sense why they both have such a broad appeal.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, maybe there's something more to this whole playlist thing, right? And then later in the show, Malone is playing his older stuff, but he's also playing some of those new country-ish songs from his album F1 Trillion.
Right, and that album's got a ton of features with, like, all the big country names. Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton, Luke Combs. I mean, the list goes on and on. But what's really cool is how he's blending country with his own style. You know, like he's using pedal steel guitar and stuff, but then mixing that with his signature trap beats. It's kind of unique.
He's really going all in on this whole country music thing, huh? Like, remember that Christmas Day halftime show with Beyonce?
Oh, yeah.
They did their song Levi's Jeans from Cowboy Carter.
Yeah. I mean, some people might just see that as like a pop culture moment.
Yeah.
But I think it shows that Malone's interest in country is like legitimate. And it's starting to really show up in his music.
For sure. And it's not just the music, it's like the whole country scene. He did a show at the Grand Ole Opry, and then there's the big-ass stadium tour he's got coming up with Jelly Roll.
Oh, right. Another country artist he's worked with.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's more than a phase at this point. It's like he's totally immersed in it. It makes you think, what does this mean for him as an artist? Is this just him exploring, or is there something bigger going on here? Like maybe a shift in music itself.
You know, it's interesting to think about this historically. Like, back in the day, there were all these, like, strict rules about genres. But now, artists like Post Malone are kind of just throwing all that out the window.
Yeah, like music is music. Who cares what you call it?
Exactly. And it's not like this hasn't happened before. Like, think about Johnny Cash covering Nine Inch Nails. Or Elvis and all that gospel music he was into. But I think what's different now is, like, how fast it's all happening. Yeah, and that's got to be because of streaming, right? I mean, this whole thing started because Malone shared his Apple Music data.
Right.
These platforms let us see what people are actually listening to.
Exactly.
Which is not always the same as what's on the radio or the charts.
Totally. It's like streaming has made it so anyone can discover any kind of music. You're not just stuck with whatever record labels are pushing. You can make your own playlist, mix and match genres, whatever you want.
So that gives artists like Post Malone more freedom to experiment, which is pretty cool. But is this just a Post Malone thing? Or is there something bigger happening here? I mean, we're seeing other artists kind of blurring the lines, too, like Casey Musgraves doing pop stuff and Lil Nas X with that country trap thing.
That's the big question, isn't it? Is this a trend, or are people actually getting back into country music, especially younger people? It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah, but you can't deny that Post Malone is a huge influence. He's got tons of fans. And if he's getting them into country music, that's going to have an impact.
Definitely. But it also comes down to the music itself. These country songs Malone is doing, they're not just like gimmicks. They're actually good songs, like that Roll Me Up song with Lainey Wilson, that banjo mixed with Malone's voice. It's like familiar, but also new at the same time.
Right. And then there was that halftime show with Beyonce. They did Leave His Jeans, like pop, country, hip hop, all mixed together on this huge stage. Do you think that kind of thing can help change how people see country music?
I mean, it can't hurt, right? When you've got like Beyonce and Post Malone doing country, it makes people rethink things. Like, what even is country music these days? It's an interesting question.
Yeah. And then there's his tour with Jelly Roll, the big-ass stadium tour. He's really putting his money where his mouth is with this country thing, sharing the stage with another country artist, getting his fans into it.
It shows he's serious about it. This isn't just a marketing thing. It's about the music. And I think people can feel that.
Yeah. So for Malone's fans, what does all this mean? What can they expect from him moving forward?
Well, they're going to hear more country in his music for sure. Like F1 Trillion is just the start. I think he's going to keep working with country artists. and exploring those sounds and themes,
Yeah.
but in his own way.
Yeah, and his live shows are going to be even crazier now, I bet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, just imagine. He starts off playing his old hip-hop stuff, then transitions into these new country songs, maybe throws in a few, like, classic country covers.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
Right. And who knows, maybe he'll even bring out some of his country friends for, like, surprise duets.
That would be insane.
It'd be like a big musical family reunion.
I love it.
And think about it. For those fans who aren't really into country, this is their chance to hear it in a whole new way.
Yeah, it's like he's introducing them to something totally different.
Exactly. And maybe some of them will like it so much that they start listening to George Strait or Zach Top.
Or any of those other artists he's worked with. So is this a trend or is it something bigger? It's hard to say. But it does make you wonder, what does this mean for country music?
Yeah, it's a good question. Could this be like a whole country revival? Especially with younger people?
I don't know. I mean, country has always been around. But what Malone is doing feels different. Like he's not trying to fit in. He's just doing his own thing.
Yeah, that's true. And it kind of shows you how music is changing. Like genres aren't as important anymore. Artists are getting inspiration from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's leading to some really cool stuff.
So we started off talking about Post Malone's most streamed artists. And we ended up talking about like the whole future of music.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you, artists can really push boundaries and create something totally new.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, music is about connecting with people, sharing emotions, and just enjoying the sounds.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what you call it.
So keep listening, keep exploring, and be open to new things.
Because you never know what you might discover.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.